The FDA is reportedly looking to curb the sale of e-cigarettes to young people. In response, sources say the popular company Juul Labs is planning to stop most e-cigarette sales at stores. Studies have shown a rapid uptick in vaping among young people as traditional cigarette use declines in popularity. Little is known about the long-term effects of e-cigarettes. Dr. Jennifer Caudle is a family physician and joins us now to discuss. Dr. Caudle, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So first, what is the FDA saying about their plans?
So they actually have a number of things that they're saying. They're rolling out a number of sort of regulations in the future. They've asked makers of e-cigarette companies to also come up with their own plans. But what they're talking about right now is limiting where e-cigarettes can be sold. And the point to that, the reason why they're doing that is they really want to curb the sale of e-cigarettes to youth in places that are not verifying age and things like that to try to keep youth healthy.
So we've seen an overall decline in cigarette use among young people. So are e-cigarette sales actually helping to curb the tobacco addiction?
So that's an interesting question with a number of answers. Let me start with talking about the e-cigarette use in young people. We know that in the year 2017, over 2 million middle and high school students reported using e-cigarettes. That number is actually on the rise. There are more and more and more youth using e-cigarettes. The problem with e-cigarette use in kids, now remember, e-cigarettes are indicated for use in adults, but not in children. The problem is that the nicotine in them, we don't, as physicians, really know how nicotine might affect the developing brain. We also know that kids who use e-cigarettes are more likely than to use tobacco products. So for kids, these are products that we don't recommend at all.
That's actually very interesting. So there are reports that Juul Labs are planning to stop selling most e-cigarettes at brick and mortar stores. In September, as you know, they issued a statement suggesting they would work with the FDA to keep e-cigarettes out of the hands of young people. So what do you think, doctor? Are the vaping companies doing enough? Is it their responsibility or the government's to regulate this?
So, I'm a family physician. I'll be honest with you. I'm always an advocate of health. And I'm being very honest with you here. I really have lots of concerns with the number of kids that are using e-cigarettes. Remember that with a lot of the new flavors that e-cigarettes have, the bubblegum flavors, the different fruity flavors, they're often meant to attract kids, and they do. So where does the responsibility lie? In my opinion, it lies both with our government, the FDA, but also e-cigarette makers. I think it's important because we don't want a new generation of people growing up addicted to nicotine and having higher risks of going on to tobacco products and other possible health effects.
Yeah, speaking of kind of kicking that tobacco habit, some have argued that e-cigarettes help smokers who are looking to quit. Right. Do you think this legislation will get in the way of that?
So, I honestly don't, because this legislation really, in terms of curbing where e-cigarettes are sold, is really geared towards limiting youth access to e-cigarettes, making sure that youth are ID'd properly, et cetera. Again, e-cigarettes are only indicated for adult use. Now, while we know that e-cigarettes have lots of chemicals in them, we think that there are probably fewer chemicals than traditional cigarettes. And so for the person who wants, the adult rather, who wants to quit smoking, e-cigarettes could be a helpful modality. I'll tell you what I say, though. I have a number of patients who start using e-cigarettes and then they can't get off of them, or use e-cigarettes and regular cigarettes. And those are two options that we don't want. But I say for adults, if they help you quit smoking regular cigarettes, then I think it's okay.
And Dr. Caudle, how long will it take for researchers to understand the full risks of e-cigarettes? What do you think, a full lifetime?
No, well, let's hope not. I mean, let's hope that we don't need a full lifetime. Hopefully that we'll start having more and more research about e-cigarettes. Remember, this is still an evolving industry. Mm-hmm. We've seen the e-cigarette industry in the last 5-10 years completely change and explode. So I think that's part of the issue here. The hope, to answer your question, is that we sooner than later have answers about really how nicotine and these e-cigarette problems affect not only the developing brain, but also adults who are using them. So we can really advise not only our family and friends, but as a physician, I can advise my patients better.
Yeah, Dr. Caudle, thanks so much for bringing your expertise to the subject. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.